ولدت وعشت كل حياتي في بلعين، قرية اللي واقعة بين التلال. القرية واقعة داخل الأراضي المحتلة من الضفة الغربية. هذول هم ال5 كاميرات تاعاتي، كل كاميرا مرحلة في الحياة. في مرة يجي مهندس إسرائيلي يعمل كيسات عشان يبنوا جدار فاصل وسط أرضنا. هذا اليوم انكسرت كاميرتي الأولى بقنبلة غاز. لما بصير إشي في القرية على طول بحس إني لازم أصور.
ما شوفت شو بيصير فينا من ورا حق التصوير، من ورا هدول الشغلات. شوفت
حكيت انا يا ابو محمد ما فيش هيك مقرض هنا جوا الجدار هون.
لا ولا شيء.
شو فيش هيك تقدرش تسوي زي
هذا ما يمكن في بناء.
أنا بعرف إنهم بجوز يدقوا عبابي في أي دقيقة، بس راح أضل أصور. هذا بيساعدني إني أواجه الحياة وأضل عايش.
Five Broken Cameras is the first Palestinian film to be nominated at the Academy Awards. But more importantly, this film is a witness, a documentation of the struggles, day-to-day struggles of Palestinians living under the Israeli occupation. In this case, it's in the village of Bilain in the occupied West Bank. But more than a social narrative, this film is compelling because it offers a sincere insight into the life of the storyteller, the person behind the camera, and the director himself, of which I have the honor of having on the show on Vantage Point today, Mr. Imad Bunat. Firstly, welcome to Malaysia, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
And this film, essentially, it's about the non-violent resistance movement in your village, Bilain. But let's talk about the message itself. What sort of message do you hope that people will get when they watch your film?
I know that there's many films were made about Palestine and the war and the subject and our life, but most of these films were made by people who come from outside. They never feel the same feeling of the Palestinian people, and they never live the experience under the occupation and under the pressures of the army. They don't feel it. So they are not related to the place, they are not related to the land or the subject. So I decided to make this film because I live there and I live the experience and I feel how to live under the occupation. I wanted to tell my story, and my goal was to tell my story, to tell the Western people, Europe, America, and the people who had no idea about the situation in Palestine. I know that they get the news and they get the information from the media and the propaganda of the governments against the Palestinians, but it's not the true. So I made this film about my life, my family life, and the struggle of my village against the occupation. So I was doing this for 7 years. Since 2005, I started filming and following the characters and the actions in the village, and in the same time the daily life. It's a film about the human, about the daily life, about the family. So it's more touching. So when people watch it, they were moved and touched by the story. Because it's the family life under the occupation.
And on that point, Five Broken Cameras is an incredibly personal film because you're putting not only yourself, your family, your wife, your children out there in public and at the risk of perhaps exposing them to scrutiny, to threats, maybe persecution as well. How do you feel about that?
It's not easy to make a very deeply personal film. It's very hard. And Yeah, to face the occupation and to face the dangers and to put myself in dangers. I was suffering, and my family, they were suffering when I was filming and following the actions.
What sort of abuses or suffering or maybe challenges did you encounter during your filming?
The challenges of the army. So I've been injured many times. I've been arrested. I was sent to jail and to house arrest outside my village. I was far from the family, so they were trying to stop me and to shoot my camera. So they don't like the camera. So when I was far from the family, my family also, they were suffering because I'm not there. So they want me to stop. My wife asked me and my sons to stop. Enough. So because I put my life in risk situation always, and it's dangerous, and but it's my responsibility to do this. I wanted to do this because I'm related to the village, to my people, to my trees, to my land. I wanted to do something effective. So I believe that the camera is very strong witness and very strong weapon. So the camera was my weapon and my friend. And I used the camera to make this film. And to make film is the education and making documentary about reality and about truth. It's important to open the mind of the people.
Using the camera as a tool, a fighting tool, if I may say. We have seen 6 decades of violence, of anger, of guns and bombs in the Middle East, and some people have touted your movie as a third voice, a non-violent resistance movement to engage perhaps the people who are unsupportive of the plight of the Palestinian. How do you feel about that?
I think this is the language that the people understand, the human language, because we are all human. So what you see and what you watch in TV or on other films, it's more about violence, and they like to show the violence always, to show the people the violence, so the people confused about the situation. But I wanted to tell my story, my family story. It's my personal story, my life, through my son, through my cameras. And it's more about the human, so people, the language of the people, so it's more human, so people understand more the situation, understand more the life.
As a storyteller, you had used 5 years, almost 5 years, to shoot 300 hours of footage. And how did you visualize, how did you combine everything to make it such a compelling, impactful story from a storyteller point of view? And how do you put it all together? And what do you hope people understand from this movie? That
many films were made about people who come from outside. So the idea came to me in 2005 when I used the camera for different purposes in the village, to be part in the struggle with my people. So I wanted to use it also. The idea came to me to make a film. Why others have to hijack our stories? We have to tell our stories. And I live there. I have to tell my story. And my story is about life. I want to tell it a simple, unique story, not a political. And at that time, did you ever thought about the possibility of your movie going to the Academy Awards? No, I did. I did not. Maybe for it to be distributed internationally. I did not expect that the movie will reach the Oscar. But the movie was distributed over all the world and was released. So, the movie was shown everywhere. So it's a work of shooting of more than 6 years, about 7 years of shooting this film and working, creating this film. Okay. And I wanted to do this because I was following the change in my village and the life, the daily life. I have to go for the first commercial break, but when we come back, I'd like to talk a bit about working together with an Israeli Jew to co-produce this movie, your co-producer, Guy Davidi, and we'll talk about this shortly after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and with me is Imad Bunat, is the director of 5 Broken Cameras. Now, Imad, the co-producer of this film, Guy Davidi, is an Israeli Jew. So essentially, this movie was jointly produced by yourself, a Palestinian, with Guy Davidi, an Israeli Jew, to talk about the Palestinian struggles, the Israeli occupation from the Palestinian perspective. Tell me, what sort of
challenges did you both encounter?
There's a lot of challenges, but the collaboration was not, the idea was not to make it Israeli-Palestinian collaboration or political collaboration. I approached him to work with me, to help me to finish the film, to produce the film, for for the purpose, for different reasons, because the challenges of the funds to produce films in Palestine.
Did you know him before?
Yeah, so it's no, the challenge, there's no funds in Palestine, or there's no people who help in the making films or documentaries. So I wanted him to help me to get funds from outside to finish the film. And the most is, I wanted to show my goal, I wanted to show the film in Israel, to the Israeli society, to tell them more about our life. I know they know and they serve the army, but there's many of them, they don't know what's going on on our life, deeply on our life. So I wanted to show it, was very important to show it in Israel also. So to show it in Israel, I thought that I have to work with an Israeli guy. And first of all, he's Israeli activist. He came to the village to participate and in the protest with the people in the village. So it was between human, not political, or to make it Israeli-Palestinian.
But would you criticize for working with
some people, talk about it, why it's, but they don't know why. They don't ask. They want to talk and to blame people, and they don't know the truth and the reality. Why I approached him to do this.
So in essence, if I can understand from your film, it's more of a trying to change the discourse of anger and from violence to something that is based on arts, cultures, and an understanding, a mutual understanding. So what is this mutual understanding that you and David had? And do you find it a challenge to put it across to the different sides, both firstly from your own people as well, that to want to work together to create an engagement?
No, it's not the story. It was very simple. I was looking for a producer, and
so he came along.
Yeah, I know him, and I called him. I approached him to work with me. So it's the idea was not to make it like to make it political, or to make it just we can work together. Or so the problem that we live under the Israeli occupation, and we've been working together with Israelis for a long time, and we have some friends, but the problem, they go back to their life and we stay there and under the Israeli army control. So it's not the solution just to work or to meet together.
I want to talk a bit about your son, Gabriel, who was featured prominently in the film. There was one part of the film, the part which your son asked, when his friend, a friend of yours, was killed by the IDF, and he asked, like, why don't we kill him? We kill him using a knife. So this notion of revenge and violence, and growing up against the backdrop of this decades of relentless anger and oppression. No, personally, for you, I mean, how do you see a different future for your kids?
I think it's not about anger, or he didn't say that because he was angry of anger, because first of all, the kids in Palestine, they live different life. It's not normal life for them to grow up like this, to face the army or to face the Israeli occupation, to the school or to the field or to the market. So they live not normal life. It's not like other kids in the world. So they live the experience. So they know more about the situation and what's going on. So we don't need to teach them. And Jibril was a friend of Phil, and Phil disappeared. So they understand more about the situation. So he was asking like and talking like young guy, that he understand what's going on. But in the same time, I felt that when he told me that, he did it like a kid, a small kid. When kids fight, they fight and they beat each other. So he like.
Did you grow up like that?
Yeah.
For yourself?
So he think that if I kill the soldier, or if we kill the soldier, we solve the problem. So I've been through this. I grew up under the.
So what sort of message do you tell your kids? Because you are here making a film to talk about how we can do this non-violent way, and you have your kids growing up at the backdrop of violence and the things that you have gone through too. So what sort of message do you tell your kids?
I did this film. I was doing this film, creating this film to create a future, a good future for my kids and for the next generation. I wanted to open the mind of the people outside, to get them to know more about our life and about the situation, to engage more people to know the reality of our life and the reality of the Palestinian situation. So I love my kids and I want to take care of them, but this is the truth where we live. This is the place where we live.
A large part of the film we see beatings, tear gas, bullets. Is this what you have to go through every day?
No, not every day. We have to, you know, since 2005 in the beginning, the first 2 or 3 years, it was every day, tear gas, shooting and actions, but it's least now, it's not every day. People are going and protesting every Friday, but sometimes the army come into the village and they shoot.
Okay, we have to go for last commercial break. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us. Hi, you're still with me. I'm with Imad Bunat. He's the director of 5 Broken Cameras, the only and the first Palestinian film to be nominated at the Academy Awards so far. But that's not the point. The point is the message that you want to try to send across. That is that people are living in with a lot of challenges, insurmountable challenges every day. Can you tell us a bit more about what do you foresee? What kind of change do you hope to impart through a movie such as this? And moving forward, what are your plans?
I think and I believe that movie and documentary could change people, and I saw the change and I see the change, how people are moved and touched by the movie. And many people came to me and they told me, you changed my life by doing this movie. So this movie is changing life, and this movie is bringing more attention to the Palestinian situation and to the Palestinian life. So it's the movie about human and about people lives everyday life under the situation, not normal situation. So my message and my goal was always to send this message and to reach the people who don't know enough or who don't know nothing about the Palestinian situation. So it's very important, the education way, and very important of making documentaries, making films, and it's very important that we tell our stories to the others.
If you look on the international front, we see that we have talks, engagement, discussions, forums with the people at the government level from both sides, trying to work things out. Do you see any change happening on the ground? Especially, Palestine has been given has been recognized by the United Nations as a state, but do you see any changes? That is
no, I don't see any change on the ground. There is no change. The situation is still the same situation, and even worse. It's more difficult than. So you see, people are settlers attacking people now. More attacks from settlers and soldiers, and nothing has been changed on the ground.
Is there a reason why to the increase of attacks or hostility?
I think, and I believe, and before even the decision of the United Nations, all the Palestinians, they don't trust anymore the United Nations because they don't know nothing about the Palestinian issue.
So where do you see is the area that people from both sides can work together to have a mutual understanding? Perhaps maybe not to solve this conflict that has been going on for so long, but moving forward, where do you see is the chance, the opportunity?
I think we are, as a Palestinian, we are asking for our rights, and we are asking for liberty and justice and freedom for us and for our kids. And we need to live like other people in the world. We need to live as human on our country, on our land. And so it's important that the other side, the Israelis, change their mentality, how they think about the Palestinians, and this is what's important. So we do this by educating people, by doing more films and doing more documentaries, by telling our story. So the education is very important.
Has it been difficult for you to premiere your films in Israel?
It was not difficult because my friend he lives there in Israel.
Guy Davidi.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he could do it. He could do it.
Were there
too.
any restrictions from the government?
The government, they don't like the film at all, and they were happy because the film didn't won the Oscar. So yeah, so there's some soldiers that I put them on the film. They serve in my village. They came to my village and to my house, and they saw themselves in the film, in the Israeli TV. So they were trying to sue me because I put them on the film.
So has this experience strengthened your resolve to continue with your work?
It's not work or job for me.
Your storytelling.
So, yeah, it's my life, so I have to continue doing this. I have to continue filming. I have to continue doing more stories and telling our stories. So I'm thinking to make more effective things, like to teach kids in the village, to build academy, school with a theater in the village, and to teach kids cameras and films. So, and to continue promoting the film at the same time, because it's very strong story. So I cannot do this by myself. I need the support of the people. I need the support of the Malaysian people and other people to do this and to continue.
To the Palestinian plight. But what I think is more important is to get the support from the people from the other side, the people who are not supportive. And do you think that would be able to be done?
It's not easy to get the support from the people who don't support Palestine. It's not easy. It's very.
What are your visions? What do you think
very
can be
difficult.
done?
I think we have to we need the support of the people in Europe and in America and in Malaysia and everywhere, and they could put pressures on their government, so the governments could put political pressures on the Israeli government to do something.
Do you see that reality to be happening perhaps in your children's future, or maybe your grandchildren?
Of course, we are hopefully, we have hope, and we look for to our kids' future. So for that we live and we look into the future, and we live our life as a normal life. We live the good moments and we live the bad moments. So we have to keep in our resistance, and in the same time to keep on our life, on our normal life.
Thank you very much, Imad Brunat, for coming on the show, and I wish you all the best to you, your family, and your storytelling as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching Vantage Point. If you have any questions or feedback, you can drop us a line on our Facebook, Twitter, or also my email, cynthia_ng@astro.com.my. That's all for this episode of Vantage Point. I will see you again. Thank you and goodbye.